So, as I was saying earlier, we're going to be talking about identity because I feel like somebody said it, identity is a strategy that's not taught. So, before we start talking about like business strategies and like how to market yourself, how to network, how to all of that, as we were doing these sessions, I was like, this is so powerful, and I love these sessions that we're doing. But I was like, we got to get down to the foundation so that we could have something to build upon. And I've been reading this book called And David Perceived He Was King by Dale Mass. This book is a game changer. Honestly, every page has given me a gem. And so we're going to be going through a bit of it tonight. And will y'all let me know if my internet starts acting wonky? I'm on my hotspot, so it might be acting a little jank. So y'all all know me. My name obviously is Felicia. I got one little baby girl who's 3 years old. I'm the founder of Spirit Fruit Roots. I study traditional Chinese medicine and mindfulness, and I pour all of those things there into one in order to create an atmosphere and environment that is conducive to healing generational cycles, and then also being present in the life that you're in order to create the legacy that you want to create with yourself and with your children. So today, we're going to talk about what identity is, beyond just what the definition is, but what it is in the spirit. We're going to explore how the identity is formed, and we're going to reconnect with who we're actually created to be, and discover how identity can lead to our purpose. Our identity is our purpose. And David perceived that the Most High had established him king over Israel, and that he had exalted his kingdom for his people, Israel's sake. 2 Samuel 5:12 in the King James Version. So this is the basis of what the book is about. It's about David and his journey from shepherd boy to king, and what that looked like, and the trials and tribulations that he had to go through, and the mindset shift that he had to take. So quickly, David was in the tribe of Judah. At 10 years old, he was underneath his father, lived with his father, and he was a shepherd. So he had many brothers, and all of his brothers were warriors, and this and that. And David was the youngest, and he was the shepherd, which was not a very exalted role. He was anointed by Samuel the prophet at 17 years old. And if y'all know the story, Samuel came to his family and was like, hey, come here, bring all your sons, Jesse. And Jesse brought his sons out, but he didn't bring David. And Samuel was like, where's your last child? Or this can't be all of them. He was like, oh, he's in the field. Bring him. We're not eating. We're not sitting down until he's here. So he brought David and he anointed him in front of his family. So he was lifted up in front of his family, in front of his father, who bypassed him. So at 17 years old, he was anointed by the Most High to be a king, but his surroundings did not look like no king. So at 18, he defeats Goliath. Goliath was a giant that everyone feared, but David, because of his experience in the fields, he killed a lion and a bear while tending the sheep. He allowed those experiences to help him see Goliath and be like, I do not fear this man. The Most High has given me these experiences of killing the lion and the bear with my bare hands. Now I've taken those experiences and I've allowed it to help me defeat this giant that everybody else is afraid of. So then 13 years later, he takes the throne. And then the rest of his life, he receives the covenant. Through his lineage, his son Solomon was able to actually build the temple. He was king for over 33 years. So David was that guy. He was a worshiper. He had a heart for the Most High. So The difference between David is that he was anointed as a shepherd and he was told that he was going to be king, but it wasn't until 13 years later did he see that come to fruition. So, how do I get this? Uh-oh. What happened? There we go. So much of what the Most High promised him unfolded after many, 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 many years. So he had to have faith. He had to allow his circumstances and what he saw around him not kill the purpose that he knew that he was supposed to step into. So the preparation, the things that happen to us before we step into our purpose, is usually disguised as like trials. Usually it's disguised as mistakes or traumas. However, is happening as a preparation. So with David, before he killed Goliath, he killed a lion, he killed a bear, but nobody was there to congratulate him or like see it. He just had to experience it and know that he had that in his being to do. So then, when it was time for him to defeat Goliath in front of everybody, that helped step him into his purpose. He had that within him. And that is what allowed him to be able to step in without fear. Everybody else, all the warriors, all that, all of them, they were afraid. They weren't able to do it. So the first two battles happened when no one was watching, and the third one happened before everyone, an entire nation. So a lot of the times, the preparation that we go through, the trials, the difficulties that we experience are in hidden places where many people don't see, they don't know all of the things that have happened and that you're going through. But it's meant to be preparation to help equip you for something that's coming later, that's going to be larger, that's going to allow you to actually step in without fear and actually hold it and take it. So, this is the book I was talking about. Now, when I tell you guys this book, I don't know if you can see, but I have like marked this thing up so much. Every page has something that is very powerful and spoke to me. And I started reading it like from front to back, but then I was like, nah, I'm just gonna every day just open it up and start reading. And it was really powerful because when I did that, whatever I was reading was speaking to me in that moment. And the basis of the book is allowing you to see the things that are happening in your life from a different lens to allow you to see that those challenges and those past circumstances and the way that you experience your emotions, your anger, your grief, your frustration, your jealousy, potentially of seeing other people step into theirs, it helps you see it from a different way. It's really powerful. So I want to ask you guys, and feel free to share and join in and speak aloud if you would like, so we can all kind of have a conversation. But if someone asked, who are you? How would you answer? Now ask yourself again, who were you before the trauma, before the drama, before the perceived setbacks and mistakes? And just answer, just take a second for yourself. Like, I put children here because that's usually the best way for us to go back and look. Like, think of yourself as a child. What did you like to do? What was your like when you have photos of yourself, like what were you wearing? Like, what was your demeanor? Were you sassy? Were you funny? Were you very observant? Were you reserved in public places and then you opened up when you were comfortable? Like, how you were as a child was that closest purity of the truth of who you were. Because once we start getting into elementary school and junior high, it's like then it starts to just get watered down by the people around us. So look at yourself as a baby, One great exercise, put a photo of yourself as a child and like just talk to her every day and be like, girl, how are you doing? How are you feeling today? I love you. Like you are in me and I am in you, and I'm going to honor you every day. If you want to wear your hair like this, or you want to do this, or you want to rest, I'm going to honor you today. It's powerful. So, like I said before, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Identity is nothing but the story you tell yourself about yourself every day. So, your identity was given to you before you were born, and now it's up to you to acknowledge and step into it. So, that's part of the reason why is this life in general. Sometimes we have these seasons. As we know, I talk about seasons a lot because we all go through different seasons of womanhood, motherhood, adulthood, where the focus in the theme is one thing. So if we can start to acknowledge that there are seasons in our lives where we got to stop and pay attention to what we're being shown, what God is telling us, it really is a game changer, because then we're not going to have to repeat things over and over. There will always be something to learn. Like we're never going to end. But if we could have foresight instead of hindsight, that's when life starts to get like juicy and you start to have a peace move with you through each season, because you're like, yep, yeah, I see you. I know why you here. I now receive that and I understand why you're here. So now you're not my enemy, whatever that thing is that's presenting. So in each new season, we're required ourselves in a way. A life shift requires an identity shift. You guys, so like once you had your child, you're now mother. You're also a woman, but what you did in womanhood is shifts in mamahood. So that delicate balance of finding that new identity where it's not just one, it's not just woman, it's not just mother, it's like this new identity. So you had to see yourself in a new way. And so if we can take that same mindset into when we're stepping into our vision and our purpose, it's not that child that was unable to control their environment and felt like they were at the whim of everyone else, that disempowered child. And a business owner, that identity is two different identities. You can't bring that identity into this one. You can love them and acknowledge them and bring them with you, but you have to take a new identity. And so that is part of the book that I brought up, and something that is very, very powerful to learn. Identity is not simply your job, your title, who you're married to, your success, your failures, your traumas. It's not just motherhood, and it's not how people see you. One part of the book was like, if you live for acknowledgement only, and your identity is not stable. If you're only happy when people are acknowledging what you're doing or clapping for you, then it's not true purpose, it's not true vision. Like, you have to be able to be at a place where what you're doing and how you're living and the peace comes in a way where you don't need anybody to actually acknowledge or to say that you're doing a good job. You just know that you're in alignment. So a new identity forces out the limitations and needed restrictions of a past season. So old seasons can't come into the new one, or you're going to go back into whatever you needed to learn. An identity shift accelerates us into destiny. So, whenever you're feeling like the people around you are moving or shifting or just acting funny, there might be something to look at there. Whenever you're feeling uncomfortable in the spaces that you used to be in, there's something to look at there. When whatever you're doing just don't feel in alignment anymore, there's something to look at there. Your identity is moving. So, whenever something shifts within you, your resonance changes. So the things around you that maybe used to resonate with you is like, it's like two magnets that used to be boom are now like kind of like, how you try and put the magnets that don't go together and it just be like, like that's what it will do. So when you perceive your new position in life, the things that you want, um, the things around you will begin to have to shift. So, like Shalonda talking about, I don't have anyone who pours into me. I don't, maybe someone is saying, I don't see people around me that like I want to be like, or I want to hang with, or like, you're shifting, you're moving. Somebody said something earlier that I was listening to, and he said, you left one door. You're no longer in your old season, and you see the new door ahead of you. You're not there yet. You're in the hallway. And the hallway feels really uncomfortable because there's nothing else but the hallway. And you're in that transition period. And everything seems to be shifting as you enter and you're walking down the hallway into your new. So if you don't fully embrace your present identity, if you don't fully keep walking, and then you're going to block, delay, or hinder what the Most High has called you to do. And whatever you've been called to do, whether that be a business, just of how you live, who you are, is meant to help others. So whatever your vision is, whatever your purpose is, your destiny, it's of service. So anointing, aka purpose, vision, without identity cannot shift the nation, cannot make change, cannot have impact. If everyone is anointed in some way, whether that be a creative gift, a gift of community, a gift of caretaking, a gift of compassion, a gift of holding others in a way, a gift of capacity. I feel like a lot of you today mentioned capacity. I got the capacity to hold people and lots of people. And so that's why people come to you. That's your anointing. But if you don't see it, then the anointing, the power is not there. It's like it's there, but Most High is not able to move through it. So it's so powerful to identify. And a lot of you already said that. Like, I know I'm a caregiver. So ask yourself, what do you enjoy doing, even if nobody pays you? What comes naturally to you? What problem do you enjoy solving? What kind of people are naturally drawn to you, and who benefits from your gifts? That is going to point you towards your purpose, your vision, your destiny, and your anointing. This is where the enemy likes to come in. The greater the anointing, the greater the testing. Let me say that one more time. The greater the anointing, the greater the testing will be. So when you're going through it, when it seems like life will not let up, when it's one thing after the other, that is how you receive your oil, your anointing. Being a nurse versus being a heart surgeon is two different trainings. They're both pretty intensive, but one is going to take a whole nother level of training than the other one. So sometimes when we see people and it seems like they're living a soft life and it's like things are easy for them, and don't get me wrong, the Most High like can bring that to us and will give ease and joy and peace. But there are seasons where up until that point there is qualifications. And he is doing it in a way to allow you, it's a training, it's allow you to step into who you're meant to be. Sometimes when you are held to hold a lot and your capacity is supposed to grow, you're supposed to speak to a certain audience or to a certain group of people, you got to go through what they experienced. You have to have walked through it yourself. And it cannot be from a book. You have to walk through it. So, holding that in your heart the next time you're like, why? Why? The greater the anointing, the greater the testing. So if it feels like your training is taking like a little bit longer than expected, like Most High should be here already, like when is it gonna happen? Like why is this just lingering on for so long? Um, Sometimes it takes longer than expected because there's more to your purpose than what you can perceive. I'm sure y'all have seen like the little picture of the girl with like the cute little teddy bear behind her back, and she has a teddy bear in her hand, and she's like crying to the Most High, like, but I want this teddy bear. And he has like a huge one behind his back, like, no, baby, let it go. I have something for you. You just have to let that old one go. So, the area of your strengths and your gifts are going to be tested, and it's going to be where you tend to get most of your challenges and traumas around. So, Baja, as you were saying, like, yo, I wanted to be a choreographer, like that, your mom coming in and saying, like, you can't make money from that. Like, that's not gonna, she wasn't trying to do that to you. She was doing it in what she felt was best. Um, but the way that it hit your spirit, it went into your strengths and your gifts. So that's something that that's really cool and a great tool to look back on your life and be like, yo, where have I had the most difficulty? So with Moses, he was supposed to go and speak to the Pharaoh. He was supposed to use his voice to free his people. Moses stuttered. Moses was like, Most High, you can't use me. I can't even speak clearly. I'm not clear. I have no articulation. Like, yo, use somebody else. And he was like, no, I got you. I have your brother Aaron. You're good. That's your gift. Um, if your gift is teaching, you may have a fear of being seen. You may have a huge fear of public speaking. If you are a writer, you have probably been told like your writing sucks. Don't ever write anything ever again. That was terrible. For me, I love to sing. Ever since I was a child, I walked around the house singing. I would imitate Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey all day. When I was in elementary school, I was best friends with the popular girl. And I remember like we would all just innocently sing songs, but we would do it by ourselves. We would all have a solo. And then I remember somebody who was, probably trying to get in good with the popular, girl who was my good friend. She was like, Fee, you can't sing. And that hit my spirit for years. I was have so afraid to sing in public, and to this day I'm working through that. And so where you have a gift, where you have anointing, you'll be hit. So we're at 7 o'clock. So I want to honor you all's time. I'm going to continue through, but I will not be, sad if you have to dip out. We're going to record this, so I'll send you all the recording. We have a few more slides, so I appreciate your time. And if you have to dip, I'll see you guys later. So, our response to a challenge at the end of the day, at the end of an old season, is usually the first step into the new season. So, how you respond to a test, to a difficulty, to somebody making you mad, or just like acting out of their character, or calling you out your name, or a huge challenge, is usually a way for you to step into who you're becoming because you're walking into a new season. So it's giving you the opportunity to respond as you would if you were who you are meant to be. So, this is the way that you could start seeing experiences in your life. Like, okay, I see you. And I now know that I have the opportunity to respond emotionally with discernment because I know that who I want to be doesn't deal with this. So I'm going to be able to respond and know that it's going to fall away. So if you are still here, ask yourself, where has disappointment tried to rename you? AKA, where have things come into your life, like I was saying, like the gifts that got hit, what areas in your life have been disappointments or an attack on your spirit? And what beliefs about yourself needed to be challenged? All right, so your response to all those things that we just discussed, it matters. So your response to the hardships and the attacks from the enemy and the tests and just the stuff that just be getting on your nerves, that honestly, like, it speaks to your character. You're developing, and you don't have to feel like you have to be perfect. But when you're able to acknowledge, like, oh, I see what's happening here, it's strengthening your character, your wisdom, your capacity. Honestly, all of this is capacity. Your capacity to hold, your capacity to be, your capacity to embody. And then that will speak to your capacity to do, in a sense. Or as women, we receive. So the way that we do things is more of an embodiment versus like the masculine doing. So all of this matters. So your purpose, like what we discussed, lives in your gifts, the things that naturally come to you, what brings you joy. And then at the end of the day, it's all about service. So purpose is ultimately about how we can impact others. And as mothers, we understand that very deeply. So just know that whatever you are, whatever the Most High placed on your heart for who you are to be and what you are to do, it is to bring something to somebody else. It's still going to give you joy. The more that you do it, actually, the more joy and the more peace you're going to have, and the more prosperity and the more abundance of aligned friendships and relationships. It's like everything else is just going to reflect, and it's going to flourish, and it's going to feel good. You're still going to have those seasons of difficulties and tests and trials. However, you are going to be aligned with the will. And so with the will of the Most High. So when you're aligned with the will of the Most High, you're able to move through it with some grace, like Matrix. You just like, you know what I'm saying? Like you might be crying on the way because it might be hard, but you're going to just be like, okay, I see you. I see you. Let me pray. Let me stop. Let me fast. Let me go. You gonna know what to do. So complete these statements. I am I am becoming, I naturally bring, the people that I am called to serve are, my life bears fruit when. And feel free to write these down, put it in the chat. Think about it just with yourself. And these are your elevated. This may be you right now, but it is who you are stepping into. It's the big shoes that you're stepping into. And this is a little exercise that I want you to do if you journal or if you have a devotion or a quiet time or just like a time for yourself. I want you to make a timeline. And this is a great tool for you to physically see, like, okay, this is where the Most High was moving in my life. I may not have recognized it at that time, but now I see it. So I want you to make a timeline of key events. You know how it's like you could look back on your childhood and you may not remember everything, but there's certain things that's just like, oh my God, I don't know why I remember that. There's a reason. So write them all down. The uplifting moments, difficult moments, the moments of joy, the moments of grief, the moments of embarrassment, like what comes up for you. Write them down from birth to present. And I want you to ask yourself, what did the Most High build in you through these events? What do you feel the higher purpose was? What did you learn? What's the lesson that you learned? What's the gem that you received? What's the silver lining? What is the revelation? What is the elevation? And some of them you may not know yet. Some of them be like, girl, I don't know why. Like, I don't know why that happened. There might be things like that, and that's okay. But the idea is when you write it down, you're able to just see it and you're able to kind of just like get it off you and just like, let me just look for a second. And that's when things may come to you. That's where it's a you time. Strength and purpose is revealed and forged in difficult situations. So we honor those times where you went through it, because now we know that it was part of the purpose. It was a part of your anointing. It was a part of your diamond press. What is it? The oil is pressed. The diamonds are shaved or something like that. The diamonds ain't diamonds at first. They got to come out the ground and then you got to like make them a diamond. So all of the difficult situations that, so you can ask yourself, what did I learn in these situations? What did it change in me? So as we close, feel free to share, write it down, speak it within yourself. What is one truth you rediscovered about yourself tonight? What is one limiting story you are leaving behind? And what is one way you want to live more intentionally?